Pennsylvania, and we're going to start our show now. But I see all the dance emojis in the comments there, so that's very celebratory, if you will. So we're going to talk a little bit more of what I talked about earlier when I was guest hosting for Jeremy Harrell, no relation. And also going to talk a little bit about this reflecting pool that I have been avoiding this story because it's just ridiculous. But it's getting to the point where you have to address it because it's, once again, like a deep dive into the minds, the psychosis of the left, as well as these reports about out-of-control healthcare. President Trump was talking about that, the cost of it all. I want to revisit this because I first figured out there are people that have somehow risen above the medical industrial complex system, and they're putting hospitals to shame, specifically hospitals that are fleecing people, insurance companies. It's really all organized crime, in my opinion. We're going to talk about all of that. The show starts right now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for being with us. Broadcasting live from the state of Arkansas. What do you got, Rob?
Oh, I was still doing the YMCA. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, you got to do the. How does it go?
The dance.
Yeah.
You look like Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, Elaine with the dancing. I don't know. It's terrible. So, sorry, my water jug is in the shot.
Little unconventional way to start. We're now 18 minutes past the hour. But
listen, Trump is on. The president's on.
That's right.
Okay. We talked about this, Paul, off air there, that this is all very deliberate, and I think it's appropriately timed for Trump because he's trying to he is trying to like reel in his
refocus.
Yeah, his base. He's trying to rally the troops essentially to lead into this midterms, but also because he's taken a beating with some of this stuff, the negative feedback from the conflict in Iran, all of that. I don't call it a war. I call it a conflict because it's not declared war, but we call it the Vietnam War. War.
I mean, it's whatever. Semantics,
semantics. Tomato, potato. There's a great Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken with that. I don't know if you've seen it, but anyway. So I love this is Trump at his best. Trump is at his best when he is behind a microphone in front of his supporters. Sometimes 50,000. There was one that was gotten up to 100,000 people. At one of Trump's rallies. He is at his best when he is there. And I think the more and more that we can get out of that, the more and more Trump gets refocused on, hey, I'm serving the American people here. Mm-hmm. I'm doing what I can for the American people. I think it's not that he needs a reminder. The dude is he's doing one of the most stressful jobs. We've talked about the pictures of, like what a president looks like when they take office versus what they look like because of the stress and all of this stuff. So he's doing one of the most stressful jobs in the world. He's the leader of the free world in terms of his power and position and all of that. And he's doing it for free. And he's doing it. And contrary to a lot of popular belief, he's the only president whose net worth went down. Trump 1.0, his net worth went down. Why? Because he was no longer the head of the Trump organization. He wasn't running. He wasn't that person cracking the whip behind the scenes saying, hey, no, let's get this done. Let's get it on time. Let's get it on budget, all of that stuff. So I love the rallies. There's supposed to be a big one tomorrow evening, Wednesday night. And I'll definitely be watching that one. Looking forward to seeing more of these rallies. I say do one a week until these midterms.
Well, and also I do have to say, you mentioned some of the negative feedback that's out there, the divisions that are out there because of the conflict in the Middle East war. I'm not afraid to call it a war. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm not saying that you're afraid. I get it. But I would just say that the idea, just think about the optics of this fight continuing, and who knows, it might continue. We may start dropping bombs tomorrow, okay? I don't know. But the idea that continues and then the Strait of Hormuz continues to remain closed and all of that, what would happen with that, and then continue to do rallies to trying to drum up support for the midterms, that's a tall order. If you think about it, you know what I'm saying? That would be a tall order. to do these rallies with that hanging over the head, and so in a lot of ways, it just this makes. Like I've said, the cards in the Middle East are the cards that we've been dealt, that they've got, that we've got. It is what it is.
Paul, I think in a lot of ways in Trump's mind here, it's over for him. He did what he did. He's gone in there. This memorandum of understanding is going to lead him to this peace deal. In his mind, it's over.
Yeah.
And it may not be because he's like overly cocky about Iran signing some peace deal that they will, sort of follow their end of the bargain. I don't know that he's confident for that reason. Excuse me. I think it might be coming from the fact that he's just over it at this point, and just I'm not willing to commit further to this. I could be wrong on that, Paul. I mean, he could send bombs over there tomorrow. I don't know, but I can say that he's over it. You can hear the frustration. He's tired of talking about it. He wants to do more of this stuff. And I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
Real quick, though, he's talking about the different things that are happening, and I talked about this earlier on Jeremy Harrell's show, but I want to get your reaction to this. Tulsi Gabbard obviously left on the 19th, and then she went to this Turning Point event, and she said this.
You think the campaign was hard? You think what President Trump went through was hard? And it was. The road ahead will not be easy. I can attest personally that in my work as the Director of National Intelligence, the deep state is fighting us every step of the way.
Yep.
And it exists within every single federal agency. And so I feel the same frustration that I see many of you expressing on X or in different platforms about why aren't things going faster? Why aren't we getting results more quickly? I feel this frustration every single day. We are pushing hard. Know that they are pushing hard back.
So, I mean, that's like kind of the first indication of her post, where she is saying, yeah, they fought me every single way. It confirms what Catherine Herridge said. It confirms what the CIA whistleblower said in Rand Paul's committee. It confirms what Congressman Rick Crawford said in that chair 4 weeks ago. Confirms it all. That, yeah, the deep state, and as I said earlier today, it has not been brought to heel. They're still alive. It's still alive and well, and it's humongous. It's gargantuan. It is a behemoth.
It's hard to believe that any one person, as strong as Tulsi is, as much as I like her, and realize that it's a huge loss that she's leaving, that she's gone at this point. It's going to take more than one person. It's going to take a completely coordinated effort here, and I don't know. He's never come out and said he wants the job, but he sat here and talked to us for an hour.
Wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, and he just said, if the president calls on me, I'll serve, and of course I'm talking about our congressman here in Northeast Arkansas, Rick Crawford, who currently sits on HIPSI, the House Intelligence Committee there. And so what is it called? The House Intelligence
The House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
Yes, Permanent Select. It's just
weird. Yeah, I don't know why they call
it's
it
the
that.
House Intelligence Committee, and Rick Crawford, our congressman, sits on top of it. He sits as the chair of that, and he makes a lot of sense to me as a person to do that, but you can't do it before the midterms because we talked about because the governor of Arkansas cannot appoint someone, and so with a razor thin margin in the House, it's not going to happen. But somebody like that who has who knows where the bodies are buried, maybe literally and figuratively, so he knows where the bodies are buried. That would be a good person to come in right behind Tulsi. He highlighted some of the problems. You could see him measuring his answers because go after the Intelligence Committee too hard or the community too hard. See what happens to you.
That's what Chuck Schumer said to Donald Trump back in the day.
Yeah. It was a threat. It was a death threat. Chuck Schumer was giving a death threat. We all know that. The CIA killed John F. Kennedy. We all know it. Okay, killed a sitting president. Can't convince me otherwise. Now, I will say it's still going to take more than a Rick Crawford if he were in that position.
Right. But she's done what she was supposed to do. She's made the criminal referrals. She hasn't, there's more reports that I'd like to see, like the one on election interference and that sort of thing. But, you're only as good as your DOJ. And while Todd Blanche has got a great press conference today where he says, hey, we've arrested 500 people in a $4.6 billion Medicare Medicaid fraud scandal across 56 U.S. attorneys' jurisdictions or whatever. Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's exactly what we need to be doing. But what we're waiting on are the Intel oligarchy being indicted, and that is a much taller order. And I mean, it makes for great headlines. And I'm super happy that that's happening. The people that are but what about the people that have defrauded the American people at the top? What about the actual traitors? You know, we need the DOJ to go and arrest the traitors. And unfortunately, the DOJ is still full of communists. Just like Tulsi said, every bureaucracy is infiltrated with a deep state, and I take that to mean communists. Now, what's interesting is, Rob, I'd love to get your reaction here because she resigned on the 19th. That was her last day in office, and then all of a sudden, we have 2 days ago, the Washington Post, which is the CIA's mouthpiece, now is trashing Tulsi Gabbard with opposition research. Her guru, mysterious messages, how it shaped her political career, and in it, they are claiming that she's in a cult, that she's in a Hindu cult, and that listen to this, that the cult leader is what sculpted her pro-Bashar al-Assad stance. So like all of her anti-war stance is this is so outrageous. Like, why would you do this? Number one, after she left, number one, unless you are really scared with the work product she left behind or her future political career.
There's nothing more unfiltered than a former politician. Yeah, that's a great point. When you leave that office and you're not worried about being reelected, or in her case, she was leaving a position that she was appointed, but that she was serving at the pleasure of the president, meaning she could have been let go from that position at any time. He would just ask for her resignation. When that is the case, you are measured far more than you're going to be. Like, if she goes back on her podcast, my gosh,
yeah.
You want to talk about a return to podcasting? Dan Bongino's show was very, very popular. One of the huge podcasts. I don't know that he's built his following back up. I don't know where it's at. I have a lot of positive feelings about Dan Bongino, but maybe some frustrations on some things. But with Tulsi, I would be listening day one there and just hoping.
I think a lot of people would.
That she would be opening that closet and saying, look, here's all the dirty secrets. Mm-hmm. Step inside. If you want to find out how sick and twisted this deep state is, just step inside this closet, take a look, because here are all the skeletons.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Again, a recycled clip from earlier today, but here is J.D. Vance talking about accountability.
I absolutely want to see indictments, Maria. Look, of course, you've got to have the law follow the facts here. You don't just indict people to indict people. You indict people because they broke the law. But if you look at what Tulsi and Kash Patel have revealed in the last couple of weeks, I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they defrauded the American people in order to take Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points and turn them into intelligence by defrauding the American people, defrauding the intelligence agencies, lying about what the intel said. They would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign talking point, and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. They took anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep, and through that, they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the American intelligence services. That's a violation of the people's trust. That's a violation of what our intelligence services should be doing, and I absolutely think they broke the law, and you're going to see a lot of people get indicted for that. Here's the thing that should really bother the American people. What do you want our intelligence community to be doing? I want them to be catching bad guys. I want them to be making sure that terrorists aren't going to kill innocent American civilians. I don't want them laundering Hillary Clinton's campaign talking points into the American media and giving them this air of legitimacy. It is sick. And it's disgusting. It hurt the intelligence community, it hurt the American people, and it hurt the first Trump administration. We've got to have consequences for it, or we're just going to see the same play repeat.
Yep, that's exactly what we've been saying.
We got to have consequences.
Or we're going to see the same thing, and it'll be way worse.
It'll be way worse because they'll feel emboldened.
Yeah.
Right. When you think about the amount of voter fraud that has happened. Each time that they don't get, like, okay, I equate it to a thief. What thief starts out at this massive, huge Midtown Manhattan bank robbery, right? That's not where they're starting, right?
You work up to that.
Yeah, you start by stealing from a convenience store, right? And then you move on up to something bigger, and then you do a jewelry heist, and then you do all this stuff. Like, I don't know what the playbook is, but you understand, like, you're stepping it up because you didn't get caught, so you're more and more emboldened. Well, that's the intelligence community on steroids. Mm-hmm. That's what they've been doing because they get to lie in the darkness here and use all of these government-issued slush funds. The taxpayers are paying for the intelligence community to commit treason against them, working against their interest. They don't care. The intelligence community, under no circumstances, believe that the President of the United States is the most powerful man in the country.
Absolutely not. You are exactly right on that.
They don't believe it, and you know why? Because they're kind of right. They're right. If the intelligence community is living in the darkness and doing whatever they want behind the scenes, the President of the United States is not in charge. We see that right now with Trump's executive orders. We see that right now with everything that he's trying to do. A judge, a low-level judge somewhere in Oregon or wherever is just stepping up and stopping the president temporarily. Of course, it's getting overruled, but how many times? What about all the cases that the Supreme Court's not going to take up?
Yeah.
What are we going to do there?
Look at this latest one right here.
Okay, let's take a look.
Judge Sparkle Suknanan.
I have zero confidence in objectivity when your stupid name is Sparkle. Your parents are retarded.
Does that sparkle with all the girls?
Oh my! Stop! We can't just skip past that. It's Souk Nasty is her last name apparently. Sparkle Souk Nasty.
Suknanan.
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 Whatever.
Suknanan.
Let me just tell you something. Her parents are retarded.
Sparkle Suknanan.
Yes.
Suknanan.
They're naming their kid. I swear, I went to college with this. There was a college class. There were two girls in the same class whose first name was Precious. Precious.
Isn't that from a movie?
Oh yeah, there's a whole movie.
That would
about
have been
that.
later. Right?
Yeah, and I'm like, they're naming their kids Precious. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing that to? Why are you doing that to your kid? There was one where her name was L-A, and the professor goes, Law. It's Ladasha. Ladasha. There were some twins. I met a girl that worked at the dentist office, and she said these twins came in, and they were Tamara and Tadasia.
Oh no,
Tamara and Tadasia.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yes, and one last one for the stupid names. This guy was a former elementary school principal. He said there was a girl in his class in there, and she was 5 years old, and her name was Gabriella Lachelle Plachette. And that was her first name, Paul.
Oh, my goodness.
Gabriella Lachelle Plachette was her first name.
I took a college class one time, I think, with a girl named Shakonda.
Shakonda?
Shakonda.
Shakaka.
And
makes me think of Ace Ventura.
In college, I mean, you don't really call roll in college, but I mean, I think on like the first day, like the professor's trying to figure out who's who, so they do.
Yeah.
And they mispronounced it. I don't know how the professor mispronounced the name, Shakandi or Shakanda, and then she pipes up in the back, "It's Shakonda."
Oh my God!
You're like, what?
Anaconda? What? What'd you say? Shh. Anaconda.
It's Shakonda.
Lord have mercy where they come up with these names. Now, of course, they might look at like Rob and Paul and be like, "Oh, yeah, what kind of name? That has no meaning whatsoever." And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not embarrassed to say my name.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're embarrassed.
They're not either. They're not either. Or
Yeah.
they'll put like sometimes they'll put Sir in front of the name, like Sir Gregory. you know. And if you ask the mom why, and it's like, well, so that my baby will always have respect on his name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's committed 14 felonies. I don't know that anybody respects him, you know, whatever. Maybe I'm stereotyping.
No, it's make sure the judge has to call him sir when he
Sir.
gives him his sentence.
Yes, sir.
His 20-year sentence.
Sir Gregory, you have been sentenced.
I'm going to make sure that judge addresses my son with respect.
He's standing there in his orange jumpsuit. He's standing there with his orange jumpsuit and his cuffs on, but he's got respect, damn it.
Mother's in the courtroom. See, that's why I named him
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
It's like, oh, you take that to the bank.
Don't you send my sir to prison? Lord have mercy. I can't fall. I can't.
Oh, my goodness.
We officially just got canceled. We just got canceled.
Okay, so Judge Sparkle Suknanon has struck down the Trump administration's expanded Save Voter Verification System, ruling that federal agencies unlawfully created a centralized database containing Social Security and citizenship data. Eric Daugherty says that Elon Musk agrees it's time to ban all foreigners from serving as a federal judge of the United States after Judge Sparkle Suknanon protected non-citizen voting nationwide. Suknanon was not born here. Now she's abusing the bench to block President Trump from having illegals removed from the voter rolls.
She was a Biden appointee, was she not?
Oh, I'm sure.
I think that's what I think that was a report that I read. Look at her with her smug ass smile.
I think that
She's
may be
sparkling.
an AI animated with Grok. So this
She's
is,
sparkling.
But yeah, she does look like that.
Yeah, sparkle.
So, in keeping with that theme, we have this. We can go into this. We're kind of leapfrogging over some stuff, but all deportations are wrong. Mandami-backed socialists. This is by Wyatt Fest over at the Blaze. Daria Liza. How do you pronounce that name,
See,
Rob?
if I can't pronounce your
We
name,
did not plan this at all. We did not plan to rip on black
Daria
names.
Liza. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. If I can't pronounce your name, I probably don't want to hear what you have to say.
I think that's got to be Daria Liza. Daria Liza?
Daria. Well, it's, if you just take Daria, Daria.
Daria Liza.
Daria Liza? Daria Liza?
It's got to be Liza. I don't think it's common to use the I as the Italian pronunciation. It's going to be the American, which would be I.
I think it's pronounced retarded, Paul. That's what I read.
All right, so Daria Liza. I think the only way to interpret how to spell it, how does it best sound like if you were on like a country porch, calling your kid home.
Daria Liza.
That's how it's pronounced then.
Like a southern belle.
Sort of, I guess.
They wouldn't be caught dead with an African American.
Daria Liza Avila Chevalier. Anyway, has become the latest darling for the day. I guarantee you she gave herself this name to be the next Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you this is not.
But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just kind of rolls.
Yeah.
Because the AOC. Mm-hmm. Is she going to be a DAC?
Yeah, DAC. Oh, DAC over here.
What do you got over there, DAC?
All right,
Dick.
so she's become the latest
Dick.
darling. All right, as New Yorkers head to the polls Tuesday, incumbent Democratic Representative okay, this is somebody else. Okay, so Adriano Effelet. New York is over. New York is over. New York is done. I mean, I already knew this, but it is just over, and I don't even care. I don't care that they voted themselves communist. It's going to be terrible for them. I can't even read the names of their politicians.
Golly.
Because I'm not cultured, I guess. Because it's not my culture.
I don't get it, man. Where's the Tom McMullins, the Irish people? Like where are they? In New York, you got these. If your people, if you can't pronounce your representatives' last names, then that's. And you're wondering where your problem is. You're wondering why you're paying too much for this and you can't afford housing and all this stuff. It's because the people paid to represent you, you can't pronounce their name and they have ulterior motives. They look at things from their bubble and they're like, well, socialism sounds great. Although you can only say about that, while you're sitting there with this iPhone that was built by capitalism, wearing clothes that was built by capitalism, living in an apartment building built by capitalism, but you're going to just piss on all capitalism because you're a socialist. Take from the rich, give to the poor. Like the rich aren't just going to move to Florida, and they're already doing it. They're going to move to places that aren't going to do that. And what if you're overtaxed here in the United States? What are we seeing some of these celebrities do? Get citizenship in a different country so they don't have to pay the taxes here anymore. Get dual citizenship. They're going to find a way to do this. So how about you just quit spending so much money? Quit spending it. You're taking in billions of dollars in the United States instance, trillions of dollars. Quit spending it all on stupid crap.
Mamdani balance the budget, I hear. So,
well, we got to make sure we've got this government-run grocery store.
So the incumbent is Democratic Representative Adriano or whatever. Drano. The 71-year-old was first elected to Congress in 2016, representing the district that encompasses northern Manhattan and the section of the West Bronx. Okay. I'm the first formerly undocumented member of Congress. I'm the first Dominican-American member of Congress in a city that has 1 million Dominican Americans, he said. Despite his membership in the Congressional Progressive Caucus and classification as one of the most liberal House members, he doesn't seem to have been adequately radical enough for Mayor Zoran Mamdani and his fellow Democratic Socialists. Enter Daraliza Avila Chevrolet, a community organizer and the daughter of a Dominican immigrant, and is challenging Epspalat or whatever for the seat.
What was the quote from her up there in bold red?
The quote is...
No. Middle of the page, right there.
I forget to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me.
When did that happen? Where's the context of that?
I don't know. They want me to unlock the
they want
article.
you to pay for that article.
I'm not going to do that, Blaze.
It's
sorry.
tough. We want to bring you all the news, but we can't pay for every single streaming article.
She says all deportations are wrong. So
yes.
So
the Trende Aragua gang member rapist.
So America is not a nation to her. It's just a place anybody can come. There's no qualifications. There's nothing. Just America is whatever you want it to be, and it's not a people, not a culture with a common language, common ancestry. Just total nonsense, total madness, and that's what awaits New York City. It's going to be pretty bad.
But if their ideas are ever called into question in a forum, like you see it on street interviews all the time, where they say, "Well, you know what really upsets you about this and that? What has Trump actually done there for you? You know what you're saying he's taking away rights. What right has he taken away? Well, I can't name those right now." And then they're like, "Oh, I see what this is. This is one of those." And you're just like,
"Oh, I see what."
Wait a minute, no, don't change the channel. Don't change the channel here. I just asked you to defend your position. You're out here spewing a bunch of BS, talking about this, talking about that. I'm just asking you to defend it. Just say, if Trump is so bad, if Trump is doing this or that, he's racist. What's one thing that he said, that was racist to you? Well, I can't think of anything right now. Oh, I see what this is. It's,
I love that when you said that. Oh, I see what this is. This is a trap.
Right, it's a trap. And it's like, no, you're just talking out of your rear end, and I'm calling you out on it.
That's hilarious.
I hate them. I hate them. I'm not supposed to hate anybody, but I can't hate. If you're so stupid that you can't even defend your positions, then just shut up. Just shut up. Don't, and sure as hell don't walk around with a sign saying this or that, and then when people walk up, well, can you give me one example of why of making that sign true? No. You're a fascist. You're a racist. You defend a pedophile. My God, you're an idiot. I can't stand people are so stupid.
I know.
They're so stupid, Paul. And we don't just send them to an island and just be stupid together. They'll be dead in 2 weeks anyway because they're so damn stupid.
Well, this is why, other cultures used to, even American culture, right? At the very beginning, you had to own property in order to vote. So, I'm just throwing that out there.
Was that a terrible thing? I own some property.
I don't. Yeah.
Hey, so I own rent houses. Like, do I get multiple votes?
Maybe you should.
That'd be great.
Maybe you should.
I'll vote in this county, this county, this county. I don't know.
I think, right? Yeah. Originally, right? You had to have obviously before women could vote.
Yeah.
All right. But we do have another court decision that's the positive. Nick Sorter, massive Trump win. U.S. Appeals Court has just allowed the Trump admin to expedite the removal of illegals from our country. A 2-1 ruling affirms illegals anywhere in the U.S. can be removed without seeing an immigration judge if they'd been in the U.S. for less than 2 years before their arrest. The policy used to only be in the immediate vicinity of the U.S. border. Now it'll be implemented nationwide. So keep pushing for more deportations. So that's definitely a positive. In other news, we still have a problem with Venezuelan gangs in Tren de Agua. The Gateway Pundit reporting that a Venezuelan illegal alien, also a former Illinois teacher, was arrested by ICE after driving a Tren de Agua gangsters to Chicago house party, which was a massacre that killed 3 and wounded 5.
Oh, my God.
32-year-old Venezuelan illegal immigrant who was teaching in an Illinois classroom has been arrested by ICE. Her name is Giovanna Mercedes. If I have to pronounce, I didn't set this up on purpose, but if I have to pronounce one more foreign-sounding name, I don't know what I'm going to do today.
That last name is an interesting one.
And it's 4 names. Okay.
Ochapintie.
Giovanna Mercedes Moreno Ochapinti.
Why you got to have 4 names anyway?
I don't know. Maybe is that a Latin thing to have 4 instead of 3? Most people have 3 names.
It's a stupid thing.
What's your middle name?
Ray.
Yeah,
perish the thought.
I like
a normal
that.
middle name.
That's a normal middle name. Mine is normal. Mine is Christian. Let's say my middle name's Christian, but it is not normal.
So my great grandfather on my grandmother's side. So his name was Ray Roberts. Okay. Mean old guy.
Yeah.
Just mean. He died when I was in 3rd grade. But anyway, I was named after him. So they just named me Robert Ray.
I like it.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Anyway, I go by Rob, obviously.
She was taken into ICE custody on May 13th, 2026, and is currently being held at Grayson County Detention Center in Leachfield, Kentucky. My middle name is Jethro, by the way. Pending removal from the country.
Jethro Bodine.
Yeah, or Moses' father-in-law. Either one.
Or the Clampets.
Or Moses' father-in-law.
Or Struck Oil in the Beverly Hillbillies.
I mean, you guys, we're
eating a whole bowl of cereal.
We're not fake Arkansas here, though. That's the thing. This is genuine Arkansas. What are they saying in the chat? Anything yet?
Oh, man, our chat's crazy. I love them.
All right. According to the Department of Homeland Security, Ochapinti drove 2 alleged TDA gang members, Ricardo Granadillo Padilla and Edward Martinez Carmeno, to a house party in Chicago's Gage Park neighborhood in December of 2024. The gunman opened fire on the crowd. 3 people were killed and 5 were wounded. Federal authorities say she then helped the shooters flee the scene of the slaughter. Chicago police arrested Ochapinti just 3 days later on December 5th, 2024, after finding multiple weapons in her vehicle. But because Chicago and Illinois are militant sanctuary jurisdictions, she was released without ICE ever being notified, despite the obvious public safety threat tied to a triple homicide. The 2 actual shooters were eventually deported. One had even been released from ICE custody earlier by a federal judge due to prosecutorial issues. Ochapinti remained free in the community and was reportedly working as a teacher at a school in the Chicago suburb of Elgin until HSI agents finally tracked her down months later. Illinois officials have refused to disclose to DHS which school employed her.
So she helped facilitate a triple homicide. What's the big deal?
Yeah, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal, man? 3 people are dead because of this fat, ugly wench.
But, I mean, that's what's so crazy
Look at
about
her. She
this.
looks like a pig.
What's so crazy about this is it's like, you say never judge a book by its cover, which, by the way, you should sometimes. But in this photo, if you just pass this person down the street, you'd have you wouldn't suspect.
I mean, I would change to the other side of the
Well,
street.
yeah, but you're
just
not going to
because
suspect that this person is like affiliated with Trende Agua.
No, I
or
wouldn't.
knows
I wouldn't
Trende
think that
Agua.
she's a
Yeah,
gang member. I would just
exactly.
think she's like an ugly trans.
It's just
fat
crazy.
man.
You just never know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. You really never know.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway,
All right, real quick, I want to cover this. So President Trump, just real quick update on the Iran war. People are trying to, attack J.D. Vance. They want to attack Trump. The Mark Levins of the world, they really, really want to attack Trump. But instead, they're attacking J.D. Vance, trying to say that this is Vance's plan and not Trump's plan.
Do you want to know why? I think there's two reasons here. Is the fear of retribution if they're a conservative going after Trump, right? Fear of retribution there. But number two,
That's exactly right.
yeah, there's a secondary possibility, and that is Trump is attacked so much that us supporters of Trump, all those criticisms mostly fall on deaf ears these days. Like if CNN's running a hit piece on Trump, what do we care?
Yeah.
Like we're not listening to it because we know they're liberal hacks.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not paying any attention to it. So if you go after Trump, everybody always goes after Trump.
Yep.
Right. And so it falls on deaf ears. So maybe it's a combination of both things, or maybe it's I don't want Trump after me. Whatever the reason, it's cowardice because I think honestly Rubio is our next president, but J.D. Vance. I mean, are you going to be disappointed if J.D. Vance is our president?
No, I think I would prefer Vance over Rubio right now. That's the camp that I'm in.
Yeah. So I just think that unfortunately we can't have. I don't know that. What's the scenario where both of them would serve in the next administration?
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be. Do you think J.D. Vance would be the vice president to Marco Rubio?
Probably not. But we'll see.
He might. He's only been one term.
Allegedly, they're friends, but I don't know. But I'll say this.
term, so.
I mean, sometimes I agree with Steve Deace's takes. Other times I don't agree. But he did make I think a good point, and of course he is I think very much kind of in the. Well, I don't really know enough about him to qualify, but he was telling all of his Israel friends that they're actually hurting their cause by attacking JD and saying Marco Rubio for president, because you're saying you're automatically pigeonholing Marco as being the guy who is for the war. They're trying they're afraid, they're showing that they're afraid of JD Vance, and they're already basically sabotaging Rubio's campaign because they're saying once Rubio gets branded the way you're framing it, nobody's going to want to vote for him.
Yeah.
Or at least people are going to say, oh, he's more pro-war than JD. But in this clip, Trump has praise for them both. But anyway.
I think Trump is going to allow the primaries to play out. I don't know if both of them are going to declare, right now, I mean, are they're would you call them the two most popular people in the Conservative Party?
And polling showed that JD had surged over the last week because he's seen as the guy kind of taking the bull by the horns with this. So
and we saw so much with Rubio. Anytime you can't get Rubio or JD Vance. Like you can't have a gotcha with them.
They're both very talented orators,
skilled assassins with that. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be pigeonholed. But I will say, I don't know if we played this on the show, but I did see a clip of Trump being asked about all the gold that he has at the White House.
I saw
did
that,
you see that?
And Rubio said,
well, so Trump said, he's like, well, the reporter was like, are you afraid that, you put all this gold in, the next president won't like it and will have it removed? And he said, Cubans love gold.
Well.
And so a lot of people ran with that one.
Yeah, of course.
And they're just like, okay, Trump is saying that it's going to be Rubio, but I would not be disappointed whatsoever with J.D. Vance. As a matter of fact, whatever we got to do to keep them both is where I'm at.
Here's so anyway, the media is trying to paint some daylight between Trump and this Iran deal. This is what happened.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. What's the latest you've heard from the Vice President? Are you happy with his negotiations?
Yeah.
And can you share a little bit about what Secretary Rubio will be doing in the Middle East this week?
I think that they're doing a fantastic job. Our secretary is fantastic. I think he's maybe going to go down as the best ever. And I thought J.D. Vance this morning was fantastic. I watched his news conference, and from Switzerland, He's a very smart guy. Did a great job. You know, when I look at the Democrats,
Okay, so he goes on to slam the Democrats. So there's that. Also, President Trump posting this Iran deal polling 67% are in favor of the peace deal being reached between the U.S. and Iran. This on the heels of the Washington Examiner. 8 out of 10 Americans, 80% want the deal to go through. Like you said, Trump's over it. The American people are over it. They want this to go away. And then we have Mark Levin.
Oh God!
I have to do it. Okay?
I want to hear the voice.
Okay. And this one is a doozy. What about ballistic missiles? How are discussions going on with ballistic missiles, Mr. Producer? Ballistic missiles are off the table. It's a fact. The most deadly, conventional, he shakes when he talks.
Yeah.
Weapon in Iran's conventional weapons inventory is not an issue at all, Mr. Producer. And the regime can use its billions in new revenue to build thousands more. You defend it. Okay. Off to dinner. Enjoy.
Where he won't tip. I'm sorry. Did I say that? Did I say that quiet part out loud?
Oh,
did we say that about
that was a maniacal
Jewish,
laugh
he likes
for
his
me.
money.
So then he gets asked. President Trump gets asked this question.
here's another beauty. What's this one?
Well,
Here's a real beauty.
earlier
Go
today,
ahead.
the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his forces are not leaving Lebanon. That is a sticking point.
Who did he tell that to you?
He said it publicly in Israel.
Well, we're going to take a look at it.
Well, what would you do to make sure that he doesn't?
Well, I'm not going to
sabotage the
tell you
deal?
what I'm going to do, but it gets solved. I'm a problem solver. I get problems solved real fast, including with Bibi. Go ahead.
All right, including
Well,
with
I'm not going to tell
Bibi.
you.
So,
I'm not gonna tell you.
by extension, Mark Levin's going to post, here in a minute that President Trump is calling Bibi a problem, which he's actually called him way worse in the last 3 weeks. So,
Yeah, I mean, we just queued that one up. He's already got that tweet.
and then President Trump says, despite their protestations and false statements to the country, coupled with the drumbeat of the fake news, which is doing everything possible to make the U.S. victory as small and insignificant as possible, Iran has completely agreed to highest-level nuclear inspections long into the future. This will ensure nuclear honesty. If they do not agree to this, there would be no further negotiations based on this and other major concessions being made by Iran. I have agreed to allow the Hormuz Strait to remain open with no further naval blockade. However, all ships are remaining in place should it be necessary to reinstitute the blockade, which seems at this point highly unlikely. The money and or sanctions that the U.S. Treasury is releasing goes into escrow controlled by the USA and will be used for the purchase of food and medical supplies exclusively from the United States, including corn, wheat, soybeans, and our great American farmers. Okay, so I think there was something like $12 billion in Iranian assets that were unfrozen today, according to the reports that I saw. So things are moving quickly. Yesterday they had yesterday we had they can now sell oil on the open market. Today they get $12 billion unfrozen. Yeah, so
I'm going to say this. Quit listening to a single solitary word that comes out of Iran from their leaders. I don't care what they say. I do care about what they do. Because if they are bombing people and they're killing people, then while we're supposed to be under a ceasefire and all of that stuff, okay, then that's an acceleration here. But quit listening to what they're going to say. Do you remember when we bombed their nuclear sites?
that was like a year ago yesterday?
Yeah. So
2 days ago?
So we bombed them, and then what did they do? They contacted President Trump and said they were going to fire some missiles back, but none of them would hit. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then what did they say? We've dealt a punishing blow back to our enemies and all that stuff. They have to present this bravado to their country, or there will be an uprising. If the captain of the ship is not seen as the leader, if he's not seen as tough, if he's not seen as the person who is in charge of that country, there will be always a revolt. Mm-hmm. You know that. And so they have to project strength, and the only way they can do that is by lying. So quit listening to what Iran is saying, because everything that they say out of their mouth and on television with the press conferences, or certainly in their tweets, it's all BS. Just watch what they do.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break, going to reset here, and when we come back, we're going to finally talk about the algae and the reflecting pool. And I mean, I don't even, it's like
spoon,
it's
man.
ridiculous,
Idiotic.
But this is the Paul Harrell program. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back here in just a moment.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red 5.
I had 5 units that I purchased for the practice right out of the chute. Well, those went the first week that I got back to Houston. So then we ordered another 5 and then another 5. And I think over the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we had ordered like 35 units. And they're gone. They're still gone out of the practice. So we're excited about moving more of these units for our patients because they need them. And so when you bring in new technology and your staff's thinking, oh, this is another thing that I need to handle during the day, I think it's a good idea to give them a little incentive. And I do it as a team. So if one person does well, the whole team does well. So they all support each other. And they got really excited about that. They love it. They'll bring a unit in, turn it on, put it on the patient's foot or leg, and they'll tell the patients, be sure to talk to Dr. Parker about red light therapy. And the patient will say, red light therapy, yeah, I've heard of that, And so I'll walk in and my nurse is she'll tell me, I've spoken to Mrs. Jones about this red light therapy, and she's really excited about it. So Red Vibe has been fantastic for our bottom line.
My name is John, and this is my beautiful wife, Lori, and this is our Star Wars Ewok. His name is Scout, and we have Scout for about 11 years now, and we started noticing about 3 years ago, he started slowing down. He was unable to jump on the bed. He was kind of a little bit grumpier, and when my daughters, Macy and Mariah, would take him on walks, he would walk for about 30 yards, and then he'd lay down, and they'd carry him the rest of the way. So I heard about Pet Club 24/7 and about the products from a gentleman that I really trust and share a friendship with. And he mentioned to me that they have products that are going to help him with his arthritis, help him build his immune system. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's try them out. And I kid you guys not, within about 2 to 3 days, we started noticing a little difference. And then we took Scout on a walk probably about a week after we started using the products, the mush puppies, and he would walk the entire way. He would walk at least a mile, and it's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. He's 11 years old, which is around 80 years in dog years, and he's just happy. He's more energetic. He's not the grumpy old man he used to be, and we're just so thankful. And it was perfect timing because we lost our boxer Yankee about 1.5 years ago, and it was really hard on us. So I'm so thankful for Pet Club 24/7 for the products that they offer. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year. I'm so blessed and thankful that we were able to find this company and find these products for Scout. So thank you guys. Give it a shot. We appreciate you. God bless everyone.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, folks, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. Broadcasting loud and clear, I hope loud and clear, from the state of Arkansas. This reflecting pool, I've ignored this story, Rob Spencer, because I think it's dumb. I'm now forcing myself to pay attention to it because it's once again leading us to understand the psychosis behind the Democrat Party. But what are your thoughts on it? When did you first hear about the blooming algae in D.C.?
Gosh, I don't know. Like right after the construction was complete, leading up to the UFC fight, there. So it's just ridiculous because what we've seen here is that the Democrats, their only position, they just keep reaffirming it. Their only position is whatever Trump does, bad. Whatever Trump does, we oppose. Whatever Trump does, we protest.
Yeah, it's whatever he cares about, too. Because this is so stupid.
Yeah, you had this most disgusting stuff there. It's pretty toxic. And there was a bid under Biden that was over $300 million to redo this reflecting pool. It's $300 million. I'm like, what are you talking about? You could build an entire apartment building in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for $300 million. What are you talking about? And so so I'm glad that never went through. I'm glad that he didn't give approval for it. And then the original quote was just a couple of $1 million, I think, for this. And then they got in there, saw that it was worse, and it ended up being $16 million. But it was half the renovation that Obama paid for.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and obviously the renovation that Obama didn't work, but you got people vandalizing this. It's
that's what's so crazy.
I don't understand it.
President Trump announces 6 arrests in reflective pool vandalism, confirms massive 350-foot gash slashed by sharp knife or razor in the dark of the night. 6 people, he said, have been arrested. 7 people have been cited for the damage they did. 350-foot gash made by a sharp knife or razors is actually numerous slashes. Likewise, the small area at the bottom of the pool was cut and powerfully lifted off the surface, leaving very jagged, uneven edges. In any event, even prior to fixing those areas, the reflecting pool is as beautiful as it can be. We will drain some of the water either immediately before or after the 4th of July to do the permanent repair. As the Gateway Pundit reported for days, deranged leftists and Trump derangement syndrome addled radicals have been targeting President Trump's beautification project from the start. Yeah, that's what's so crazy. It's like it just goes to show you how they're bent on destruction, but they also hate him so much they don't want him to beautify the nation's capital. And it's like they love government, but they only love the government that affirms their lifestyles, affirms their politics. Like they hate us. They hate us with the passion of 1,000 fires.
Paul, what did they do with the National Guard? I mean, you had the murder rate in Washington, D.C. that was just so insane, and he sends the National Guard in there and cleans it up, and the murder rate plummets, and you had people that were like, oh my gosh, I can actually walk outside without feeling like I'm going to get shot or stabbed or raped, or kidnapped, whatever, and you're just and people griped about it. Well, you shouldn't use the military for that. What was his alternative? Give a pep talk to the Washington Police Department?
Yeah, beg the mayor for help.
Yeah, what are you going to do? No, you have a power. It's not a state, so he had a lot of power to do whatever he wants in that area, in this district. As much as the liberals would love for it to be a state, they would have 2 additional representatives in the Senate, and I guess probably just, I don't know, based off of the population, just 1 member of the House, if they were considered a state. But regardless, this just proves why, if it takes the president of the United States to clean up your area, and then you still have liberal lunatics that are willing to destroy it to try to get Trump, then can you stop and take a look in the mirror and ask yourself this question: can Trump do anything that I would applaud, other than resign or die or something like that? But can he enact any policy? Can he do anything that I would applaud? And if the answer is no, if you're just constantly saying no to anything that Trump does, are you not just completely infected with a mental disease here called Trump illness? Trump derangement syndrome?
Yeah.
Are you not just completely infected with that? Because if you can't look at anything objectively, we on this side, we've had so much fighting over the last year because our frustrations with Trump on certain things. I still agree with him on 90% of the stuff here, maybe 99% of the stuff, but there's a few things. I felt sick to my stomach when I read his Truth Social post about Rob Reiner, who had his throat slashed. I know Rob Reiner said some disgusting things, but that's not the time, man, when him and his wife were violently murdered by their deranged son. That's not the time. I didn't like it. I thought it was beneath him. I understood why he was coming from it, because Rob Reiner was just awful to Trump and everything. But I look at it, so I had a problem with that. That's a legitimate thing that they could gripe about Trump on. They could gripe about his immigration policies, call him inhumane. They could say all that stuff, but he's cleaning up one of our national monuments here. One of the most important things. I mean, for God's sakes, Forrest Gump was filmed there.
Yeah.
Right? You know, Jenny ran out there,
yeah.
and this big hug and all of this stuff. This is an important location.
So can we also kind of, I mean, I kind of tend to think in patterns and symbols, and so to me it's just not, the left is willing to embrace filth and dirtiness, to get down in the muck, because that's kind of who they are. You know, that's where they're comfortable. Beautiful things offend them. You know, it's sad.
Harmony.
Harmony.
Yeah, we've got to oppose things, Paul. We have to what's the word? Resist. You know, they got their damn bumper stickers and all that stuff. Resist at all grounds. Everything Trump wants to do, we have to resist it. And I just want to say to you, go outside, touch grass, and watch the countless videos of foreigners who have come into this country for the World Cup and have fallen in love with the United States.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are also foreigners who are coming into this country illegally and leeching off of the United States.
Big difference.
And that's a whole...
Don't appreciate it at all.
Correct. They don't appreciate it. It's a means to an end for them to send money back to their family. And on certain levels, I respect it, because if our government is stupid enough to give them the money, then, hey, they're going to go ahead and take it. But if you are a liberal who hates this country and can't even stand to hear the Star-Spangled Banner because you hate this country so much, I say, number one, watch all those videos. And if you are unchanged, get the hell out.
President Trump went off on ABC News over its coverage of the reflecting pool renovations and refusal to mention the vandalism of the monument on Monday, warning that lawsuits are being drafted. I like their money, which will be given to the U.S. Treasury. President Trump undertook the project. Okay, so he's threatening the press
ABC
here. I mean, it is kind of odd when you have these CNN report. They've got nothing else to talk about. Then they're pool people, and they're going and taking water samples. It's just
we saw the water samples, and they're like, we're going to send this off to the lab and see. We're going to see how dangerous this is.
So ridiculous.
We're CNN, and we take baths and lotion of bull crap because all we care about is hating on Trump. Trump bad.
So here's somebody called Turley News or Turley.Steve over on TikTok.
So she's got a pretty good following here. I don't. This was the first encounter with her, but she's a good follow.
Anyway, she's blasting CNN here. Listen to this.
This reflecting pool has really always been a problem. Here's this woman saying the quiet part out loud on CNN.
The thing that I keep coming back to in the course of this reporting is this idea that back in 2012, President Obama was president when there was a $34 million renovation of this reflecting pool. And it also had a massive algae bloom right after it was refilled. Why don't we remember that? Why weren't we talking about that? Why are we talking about this now? Because President Obama wasn't personally involved. He did not insert himself. He did not drive his motorcade into the pool. But for Trump, that is how he does things. He is very personally involved. He views himself as the developer in chief. This is part of his legacy.
Did you notice the quiet part that she said out loud? That the difference between the algae bloom during Obama's administration and the difference between the algae bloom during the Trump's administration is because it's Trump. They didn't care when Obama was in office. She's saying we care about this now because Trump cares about it. They're so obsessed. And that's the difference. It's not that Obama didn't insert himself into these issues. President Trump inserts himself into everything because why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he insert himself into the cleanup of the city that he lives in? And now CNN is reporting on its own hypocrisy because they've realized that the algae in this...
So I'm reminded of what, to her point, it's just like a bully on the playground. Mm-hmm. If it's important to you, even if it's just the most basic thing of making the Democrats were kings of saying, well, the government just needs to do the things the government's supposed to do. It's such a cop-out of trying to say the government is apolitical when most of the time everything the government does is political. And you can even make the argument here to make the city look beautiful. Fixing a problem that should have been fixed is going to get him political points. So that still stands. But it's like a kid on a playground that doesn't care anything about basketball, but the guy he hates loves basketball. So the kid goes and all of a sudden loves basketball and takes the ball away. You know what I mean? It's just targeting somebody out of just sheer cruelty.
Yeah, it's like a bratty older brother, who's always just picking to be picking, and that's literally, if you watch CNN, and of course MS Now is just garbage. Like, these people have no morals whatsoever. If you're going to go on national television and just lie, that's all you're doing.
Yeah,
you're just lying. Joe Scarborough went on before the 20, like after Biden, announced that he was going to run again in 2024. And Joe Scarborough, he was like, I'm going to tell you the truth. And if you can't handle it, then F you. I talked to Biden recently, and this Biden is the best Biden. And I'm like, dude, 2022 Joe Biden, 2023 Joe Biden was not 2008 Joe Biden. Certainly not 1995 Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He's always been a moron. Although I agree with him on a lot of stuff, like he gets so much flack about the super predators and stuff, but he's right when he in a lot of ways he was talking about all of these people that are on the streets, and then they're getting arrested and just put back out on the streets again. And he's like, these people are so bad. Like, if the NYPD when they came out and said, if we keep arresting the same 3,000 people in a city of 20 million. We keep arresting the same 3,000 people. And he said, if you take these 3,000 people out of the crime, if you just take them and put them in prison, that crime would reduce by 90%. So that's what Joe Biden was talking about in the early 90s there, when he talked about the super predators and all of that stuff, that they're beyond the pale. They can't be saved. They're so rotten from the inside. So I do agree with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But the lies, I've gone way down this rabbit hole
keep
here,
going, keep going.
But the lies of the leftist media, when Joe Scarborough sat there and said that 2023 Joe Biden was the best Biden, and it was no more than a month later with that disastrous debate, and the dude had lost. I mean, it was painful. It was painful to watch Joe Biden in that debate with Donald Trump. It was painful because I said, this is our president. I disagree with...
Well, technically not. I mean...
Well, he was.
Yeah.
Well, we can go down that rabbit hole, too.
He was appointed president,
He was appointed, yeah. He had president after his name, and he's getting $400,000 a year for the rest of his life, however long that may be. But regardless, it was painful to watch. And it was based off of the lies. They propped him up. All of these people that were working behind the scenes, his cabinet are criminals,
yes,
in my mind.
Yes,
because they were running this country like a shadow government. We knew that they were running this country like a shadow government because you obviously knew that the dude can't even hold a press conference. And you want to sit there and tell me that Donald Trump is slipping? Donald Trump talks to the press every day, multiple times a day. Joe Biden didn't talk to the press for 6 months. And the reason is because he couldn't finish a damn sentence. And you're talking about somebody that couldn't even talk, who is the leader of the free world. All of those people were criminals, and they were propped up by the media lies. Exactly what that young lady was talking about. The hypocrisy of the leftist media knows no bounds. And for me, I think that they need to be silenced from their pulpits, but at the very least, there needs to be disclaimers put at the bottom of their channel. This is all opinion. None of this is verified. We're full of trash.
Well, that's one of the reasons NPR or PBS, when Musk took over, they rage quit Twitter because he said government funded. He attached a government funded media tag to their official pages.
Oh, they couldn't handle it.
They hated that because they don't want to say that they're just propaganda outlets, but that's exactly what they are. Real quick, this came across my feed while we were on break, and it's from yesterday. Alana Treen says that firings at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence started today. Sources had previously told CNN that Bill Pulte was looking at cutting hundreds of jobs. Last week, Pulte showed up to his new job a day early after asking for a list of every employee in the office, catching even outgoing Director Tulsi Gabbard off guard. And so that has, let's see here, the Last Refuge conservative treehouse says CNN mainly receives their internal government leaks from the State Department. Given the context of their focus, it would appear their information stems from the State Department liaison desk staff inside the office of the DNI. I presume the liaison staff is on the chopping block. Meaning the people leaking out the firings are the ones afraid that their jobs are. I mean, I think that's logically sound. Yeah. When we saw what happened, at the Institute for World Peace or whatever, when they tried to barricade the door. So I just wanted to give that update on what's going on. And, the fact is, I'll reiterate this: we don't know who the official director of national intelligence is going to be, the confirmed one. Is it going to be this Jay what's-his-face guy? I don't from the SDNY.
I don't know.
I don't know. His nomination has been put on hold. Pulte, who both the Democrats and the Republicans seem to despise.
Sure.
All the right Republicans and all the right Democrats hate him. Makes me like the guy. I don't even know anything about him.
He's the active guy, right?
He's now active, yeah.
So, and how long can he stay? Is it 200?
I think we're like, what are we? It's 200-something days. We're 170-something days until the midterms, as it is right now. So, yeah, we'll get past the midterms, and then you see, Jay, I can't remember, is it Cutler? Is it Jay Cutler? Is that his name? From the SDNY has been nominated, but we'll have to see.
We've got this great follower on Twitter. His name is Matthew Schollenberger. He's great, and he loves the Lady G segment. So
we'll have to bring that back.
Yeah, we got to bring back Lady G.
We'll just got to figure out what other crazy. You just got to go scroll his Twitter.
Yeah.
Here is real quick. I'm going to give you an update on Fauci because it proves a point I made last week. But here is Rand Paul. This is on CNBC. Listen to this.
Pardon, and he's got pardon going forward, pardon going backwards. I don't know whether those stand up, but 2 years ago, David Sachs, I'm sure you know him, he said this explains exactly how he orchestrated the pandemic, or at least knew about gain-of-function research, and then changed the story. And I tweeted at the time, can someone explain to me why Dems line up to defend this guy? Can you explain why Democrats have lined up to defend Fauci when it was clear as the nose on your face what had happened?
I think he represents Big Brother in public health. The Big Brother that tells you what to do, doesn't give you advice, but commands you and tells you what to do. And the left really is fine with an authoritarian approach to medicine. But to give
He's the only one that says anything on CNBC that makes any sense. This guy,
yeah.
I don't really know his political leanings. He's at the very least, he's an independent, but he is so sick and tired of the hypocrisy.
So Fauci backs out of voluntary testimony. Rand Paul has put another subpoena on him. Mm-hmm. But the Gateway Pundit has this article where they make the point that I made last week, and I want to get your take on it, Rob, and just see how you think about this. Now that we know what happened, Tulsi Gabbard releases all of the bioweapons labs and the stuff on Fauci, right? Okay. Got him dead to rights. Fauci was using USAID to fund COVID research in Wuhan, resulting. So basically, Fauci funded the Wuhan lab, yada, 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 whether it was intentional or an accidental leak. 7.1 million people died.
Yeah.
What does that make the U.S. government?
Enablers of a murderer. I mean, honestly, we are funding.
I mean, Fauci couldn't have done this alone. I mean, there's other people behind him doing this. He's not. I don't think he's just. The parties of the U.S. government are now up there in the history books with some of the worst governments in human history.
The implication there being that had we not funded Wuhan,
7 million people would be alive.
COVID-19 would have never happened.
Yes. So I mean, just marinate on.
It's hard to believe, and somebody might argue, well, another country might have, stepped in and and funded the research. I don't know. You never know what that's going to be, but I can tell you this: USAID is responsible for a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
Because of the massive slush funds that existed and the funding of evil. We know directly that the USAID funds were going to terrorist organizations that were murdering and killing Christians. And so USAID could not have been ended fast enough, in my opinion, here. And had it happened in Trump 1.0, early in Trump 1.0, it'd be interesting.
Look at this. And speaking of USAID ending, 7 Latin American elections since USAID have been defunded. The far right has won in every one of them in South America.
Wow, it's really interesting.
Every one of them. So the global left, socialist, communists, they're losing now.
Well, I mean, in South America, I saw a map there that like since all of that stuff has happened, the amount of it that has gone red versus blue. You know, there was only like just to see small pockets of conservative people in South America, and it's like, and what we realize is that it wasn't a small pocket.
Yeah,
it's just that their votes were being suppressed, and we saw this propaganda machine that was happening, and it was being funded by the American taxpayers because liberalism needed breeding. It needed to breed further and further and spread out. And then all of these people that have been bred under this liberalism immigrates to the, they come on into to the country here. And then, you go to California, you go to these states that don't require voter ID. And which way are they voting? They were indoctrinated before they even got here.
Yeah.
We never had a chance as conservatives.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so I've got to reset here and take a break. Rob, I know you're out at 4:30,
yeah,
3:30.
I got to roll out today.
5:30, whatever time it is. But hopefully we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Eric may be here as well. So
I should be able to do the full show tomorrow.
But I have to go to the restroom real quick.
Yeah,
good
for you.
This energy powder has gone right through me, so we're going to take a break. I know that's too much information. Don't go anywhere.
Paul,
yeah,
real quickly, I want to say we love our chat. Our chat is amazing. You guys, I monitor all the stuff there, and I want to say so many things, but I don't want to distract Paul. You guys are incredible. We love you. Love this chat. We love LFA TV, and we are honored to be with you. I know I say that all the time, but I just mean it. I love it. So,
all right, folks, we're going to go to break back here in just a moment.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red 5.
This is our family dog, Bubba. He is a Shorty Jack Russell, and he brings a lot of love and laughter into our home. We just want to thank Pet Club for making healthy food and treats for our animals. Bubba has been on Pet Club food for a little over a year now. He really likes the Sequoia dry food, and then I put a scoop of the Sequoia wet dog food in there with some hot water and stir it up, and he absolutely loves it. And he likes the mush puppies, but his ultimate favorite is the antlers. Those keep him busy for a really long time, and he really likes them. It makes us feel really good that the food and treats that we give him have healthy ingredients in them, because we want him to be around for a really long time. Our previous dog was a lab, and his name was Titus, and we fed him in bulk, and we would just get his food from the big box grocery stores. And unfortunately, that food wasn't very healthy for him, and he ended up getting cancer and passing away. So we didn't want to make that mistake with Bubba, so we were really fortunate to find Pet Club and find some really healthy food for him to eat. So we would just like to thank Pet Club, and we just really appreciate the healthy food that they make, so we can keep this guy around as long as we can.
I had 5 units that I purchased for the practice right out of the chute. Well, those went the first week that I got back to Houston. So then we ordered another 5 and then another 5. And I think over the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we had ordered like 35 units. and they're gone. They're still gone out of the practice. So we're excited about moving more of these units for our patients because they need them. And so when you bring in new technology and your staff's thinking, oh, this is another thing that I need to handle during the day, I think it's a good idea to give them a little incentive. And I do it as a team. So if one person does well, the whole team does well. So they all support each other. And they got really excited about that. They love it. They'll bring a unit in, turn it on, put it on the patient's foot or leg, and they'll tell the patients, be sure to talk to Dr. Parker about red light therapy. And the patient will say, red light therapy, yeah, I've heard of that, And so I'll walk in and my nurse is she'll tell me, I've spoken to Mrs. Jones about this red light therapy, and she's really excited about it. So Red Vibe has been fantastic for our bottom line.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, welcome back. Wine things. Man. Get a better job of putting those ads in blocks instead of having to play them one at a time. So, wouldn't that be better? Okay, so healthcare. Let's talk about it. I've got this article. Got this article I want to share with you guys because I discovered something about, I don't know, it's like a decade ago, about how some people are actually getting around the medical industrial complex and their price gouging, and what I really just think is organized crime at this point. So you go over here and you look at this headline from Families USA. I don't know if these people, it says the voice for healthcare consumers. I don't know if these guys are liberal, conservative, or whatever. Somebody named Casey Hampton writing today, hospital prices are crushing Americans. It's time for bipartisan bold action to lower costs. And they say, when Families USA and the right-leaning Paragon Institute agree on something. So, yeah, Families USA is leftist. I thought they were. Congress should take notice. Both organizations, with very little else in common, have released major reports this year reaching the same conclusion. Sky-high hospital prices are the leading driver of healthcare affordability crisis in America, and hospitals have failed to act. Well, here's the deal. It's insurance companies and hospitals. They literally are, it's a hand in glove, and it's organized crime, in my opinion. In May, Families USA published Big Systems, Bigger Profits. Consumers are paying for the price of corporate hospital power, finding that a handful of large corporate health systems dominate the majority of the hospital market and exploit the dominance to overcharge consumers. Many of these hospitals bear the names of Christians or Christian denominations. And here in my home state of Arkansas, when we fought the expansion of Obamacare here in Arkansas for a long time, I watched as a lot of these hospitals, lobbyists would go to the end of committee tables and essentially, lie. They would use their hospital math, and they would, claim that they had X amount of dollars in uncompensated care, uncollectibles, and that's why they needed more money. And then you have, well, if we don't do this, rural hospitals are going to die. I mean, just everything under the sun that they could do to get the government to spend more money. And so I've seen this, and the healthcare system is it's just about money. It's not about people at all. It's about money. So I guess about, I don't know how many years ago this would have been, 2009. Yeah, this would have been about 2014, 15. I found the Surgery Center of Oklahoma. The Surgery Center of Oklahoma, we're glad you're here, and we want to briefly explain what sets us apart and why it matters to you. And they've got this great YouTube channel, and I want to give you an example. This is 11 years ago. This is about the time that I heard about the Surgery Center of Oklahoma, because they're able to give you surgeries. This is not a paid ad at all, but they're able to actually give you they're able to give you surgeries there for a fraction of the price that big hospitals are giving you. But before we get into that, I want you to listen to the lead doctor there talk about the $100 aspirin.
Hello again, Dr. Keith Smith here, Surgery Center of Oklahoma. I thought I would quickly go over something that I've talked about for a long time now and have written about, It's the $100 aspirin. Why do big hospitals charge $100 for an aspirin? And they do this knowing they're only going to collect probably $5 for the aspirin. But they only paid a penny for the aspirin. What is all this about? Why do these charges, why are they so much more than what the hospitals know ultimately that they will collect from the insurers? The simple answer is that charging $100 and collecting $5 allows the hospital, particularly if they're a not-for-profit or so-called not-for-profit hospital, allows them to claim that they actually lost $95 or that they provided $95 of care for which they were not compensated. This is called uncompensated care. I call it the uncompensated care scam because having paid a nickel or less for the aspirin and actually being paid $5 and writing off $95 as if they lost that just simply allows them to maintain the accounting fiction of their not-for-profit status. Hospitals many times will claim that they provide millions or tens of millions of dollars of uncompensated care, and that allows them to basically maintain the fiction of this not-for-profit status. The other thing they do is they use this uncompensated care number to justify the kickback that they then later receive in the form of disproportionate share hospital or DSH payments from the federal government. So if you think about it, the extent to which the hospitals actually claim that they lost money, they actually make more money. To the extent that they exaggerate their losses, they actually generate more of a kickback from the federal government in terms of these padded dish payments. It's like I refer to it as a reverse Enron, where Enron overstated their earnings. The hospitals are inclined and induced and incentivized through this arrangement to overstate their losses. That's the brief story of the $100 aspirin. And in the next blog, I will get into why the insurance companies, even though they know that the hospital paid 1 penny for the aspirin, are happy to pay $5 when facilities like mine give the aspirin away.
That is Dr. What did he say his name is? Keith.
Hello again, Dr. Keith Smith here.
That's Dr. Keith Smith. Again, the Surgery Center for Oklahoma. So that was a video that he made 11 years ago. This is one he made 3 weeks ago, or this is one he made 1 year ago. Listen to this testimony.
We had a patient from Georgia who needed a transurethral resection of his prostate, and our online price all in was $3,600. He went to his urologist in Georgia, and they got a quote from the hospital for $40,000. Again, wow. 10 to 1. And so the patient told his urologist, I'm going to Oklahoma City. Well, it turned out this urologist had lost another patient to us about 2 months before. So they marched over to the hospital, walked into the administrator's office, and the urologist said, you guys are killing me. This will be the second patient I've lost because you're quoting these insane prices. And the administrator said, what was the price in Oklahoma City? He says, $3,600. So they matched our price. Well, the patient reached out to me. He did not come to Oklahoma City. He stayed in Georgia. The patient reached out to me and he said, do you realize you saved me $36,000 and you did not even perform the procedure?
So somebody explained this to me in a way that doesn't involve greed and I would say criminal activity. So somebody explained to me how this is legal. And you really can't without saying, well, this is and back on the whole $100 aspirin thing, under-reporting your profits so that you look like a poor hospital. That is lying. And again, many of these hospitals bear the names of Christians or the names of Christian denominations. And the whole system is set up to help people, but they're cooking the books and they're actually bearing false witness. They are lying about the truth of their situation. And we wonder why people can't afford the hospital bills and their health care. Hospital prices are crushing Americans. It's time for bipartisan bold action. I I mean, I don't want. The thing is, does anyone have confidence that any sort of thing could happen in Congress that wouldn't benefit the congressman and make the problem worse? You know it would. These people are all bought and paid for. It's insane to even ask Congress to fix this because they won't. And if they do, they'll just find a way to enrich themselves or enrich the hospitals more or enrich the insurance companies more. And then at the same time, name it something like the Affordable Care Act that makes all of our prices go up. So I don't really have an answer here at all other than I'm just exposing this as a huge problem. And the solution, though, is this surgery center in Oklahoma is one just solution. Here's a guy that went out on his own. He literally lists the prices for his surgeries on his website. Okay, so right here, it's just right here on the website. If you have to have your Achilles tendon repaired, that's $6,561. If you have to have arthroscopy, ankle with Bronstom ligament repaired, that's $8,171. Bronstom ligament reconstruction, $5,765. Let's see here. What's some more things here? Your elbow. You got arthroscopy elbow problems. That's $6,000. Bilateral knee, $6,000. What else do they do at the Oklahoma Surgery Center? A shoulder spider retractor, rental free, occasionally necessary, $675. And they have little asterisks by I don't know what the asterisk means. But I mean, look at all of these surgeries that they do. They'll do a lap band removal for $6,000. They'll do a laparoscopic gastric bypass for $18,000 for people that are overweight. $18,000. I'm sure the insurance company charges something like $100,000 for that. Reconstruction, breast surgery, $14,000. They do everything. Let's see what else. Looks like they're even doing reconstruction, nose, jaw. I mean, just every surgery, ear surgery. They've got ear surgeries now. I mean, but it's all just listed on their website, like any other consumer product or service. Hey, how much is that going to cost? Well, here it is. Try to get that from a hospital, and you're going to get a million different answers depending on what your insurance plan is. They're doing eye surgery now, eye muscle surgery, more than 2 muscles, $5,000. Your orbital floor fracture, I don't even know what this is. I mean, it's just crazy to me that this is a real thing. Crazy to me that this is a real thing. And now we have some really red-blooded American men. So Keith Day 777 says, I'll reset my own arm. I'm imagining that's how you say it. I'll reset my own arm. Let's see. Da Patriot 01 says, hospitals got billions of dollars during COVID right after they started shutting down. That tells me that administrators were skimming the money. America has been ripped off from one end to the other. Yeah, I mean, that's why. I mean, Todd Blanche and the Justice Department, to their credit, $6 billion scam. 500 people did $6 billion worth of scamming in 56 different U.S. attorneys' jurisdictions. And, folks, that's only scraping the surface of the fraud that's going on in this country. It's at least $1 trillion a year. R*77, it all ties together. Go to my doctor once a year for Medicare coverage. We've had some very interesting conversations over the past 6 years. He doesn't dare ask me about pharmaceuticals. Yeah, because no one trusts that anymore. Let's see. Hospitals and doctors don't tell you what it costs here. We have Crying Chuck 321. My son's a nurse practitioner for Baylor. He runs the unit after the recovery unit wakes you up. Tough job. Bad Moon 001. Motorcycle accident was considered a COVID death. Yes, that did happen. Also, Da Patriot, they got money out of Pfizer too. Phaja was, what does that stand for? Is that an acronym or is that a typo? Phaja was stolen out money from conference rooms and all kinds of things so they would use their drugs. Darlene Dempsey wants to know how much the Oklahoma Surgery Center charges for Botox. Well, the website is called surgerycenterok.com. You can go check that out. Who knows? I don't know if Botox is a surgery per se, but anyway, is this not just maddening though? I mean, it's absolutely super frustrating to the point where it's like I saw this, I thought it was comical. You mentioned Big Pharma, and you mentioned how nobody can trust them. Somebody made this parody about what a pharmaceutical ad would have been like in the dark ages. Hang on a second.
Even the simplest joys in life.
Let's see if I could get this thing to work again. Oh, something went wrong. Let's see if it'll work. Oh no! What if I go back? No. Maybe that'll work right there. I think I may be losing the internet. I'm not really sure what's going on. Yeah, here we go.
Your Crohn's unholy curse. Even the simplest joys in life can feel impossible. And my symptoms were keeping me, be right back, from where I needed to be. So I spoke with my apothecary and learned that Rattus curativa is for people with the Crohn's unholy curse. And Rattus curativa can help people achieve remission that can last. So you can experience few or no symptoms. So you can get back to doing the things you were meant to do and take back control of your life. Rattus curativa helps realign gut humors using the natural warmth of a rat worn at the neck. As that warmth flows downward, it soothes the lower humors and helps restore digestive balance. Rattus curativa may lessen your body's ability to fend off plagues, poxes, or wandering illnesses of the realm. Serious and sometimes fatal afflictions have occurred, including black bile fever, lung rot, witch's cough, confusion between your thoughts and a rat's thoughts, and unexplained bouts of scurrying. Do not begin Rattus curativa if you currently have an illness, fever, or active plague. Be there for you and them. Talk to your apothecary today about Rattus curativa. With Rattus curativa, remission is possible.
So that is by a guy by the name of Boomer Casserly. That's a fantastic parody. And of course, that you can't really talk about the pharmaceutical ads that you see without talking about how captivated our country is with all of this, how we are a captive nation because the pharmaceutical industry owns the airwaves. They own the media. They're still advertising, and they shouldn't be allowed to. That's one of the things I hope RFK eventually makes good on, is banning pharmaceutical ads on our TVs. Completely ban them. I don't want to see any more ads for Sky Rizzy, whatever the heck that is, and who's naming these drugs. The names of these drugs are ridiculous. Sky Rizzy? I don't even know what that treats. But I've seen the ads because, I don't even have cable. But, I mean, if you watch a YouTube video, you're going to see a pharmaceutical ad at some point. And the side effects are ridiculous. And you've seen plenty of people make the parodies, I mean, side effects include death. I mean, it's nuts. And they're constantly doing this. And they're not doing this to sell drugs. I don't think there's really anybody that watches those ads that is like, I'm going to ask my doctor about this medicine. It's a way to make sure that the media never covers anything critical about what we were just talking about. If the media en masse started reporting on the $100 aspirin and made that dinner table knowledge, the pharmaceutical companies would immediately say you can't report on that, and because we're giving you, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, millions of dollars a month to run our ads, and we're going to pull our ads if you report on the medical industrial complex and the corruption that it is. I don't know. Did any of you guys just experience a stream interruption? Because if you did, I apologize. It doesn't look like I do have one stream interruption going out to our the cable network that carries this show in north central Arkansas. It looks like that stream is down, and I don't know that may be because rural Arkansas has lost internet, but it looks like we're still up and going. Bad Moon, money and depopulation was all this was intended to do. Money and depopulation was all this is intended to do. Well, I mean, certainly that's the case. I mean, I don't know how you can look at what COVID and the whole vaccine rollout was other than that. We've had how many, like a whole generation of people have been raised to think that the earth has an overpopulation problem when that's not true at all. Not true in the slightest. Let's see here. Let me check some headlines as we wrap this up today. Oh yeah, did you see that a Missouri judge struck down? Let me check something else real quick. UN group to rescue 11,000 sailors stranded in the Middle East. What is this? What is this? There are soldiers. The Epoch Times is reporting that the United Nations International Maritime Organization announced on Tuesday that it would start the evacuation of more than 11,000 sailors who were stranded in the Middle East this year due to the war between the United States and Iran. This large-scale operation will be carried out in close cooperation with Iran, Oman, and all other coastal states, and the reason the United States and maritime industry, the group secretary said. Operation will be carried out in the Strait of Hormuz. We've secured the necessary safety guarantees and have thoroughly verified the conditions for safe navigation to support these operations. I had no idea that there were sailors. I mean, I guess, all countries in the world, use this strait in some capacity, you would think. Moving these oil tankers through. You would think that. Speaking of here's another story that I did have pulled for this that I meant to include in the other segment, because this is crazy. The Gateway Pundit is reporting that the one of the pilots that survived the drone attack, U.S. pilots that was shot down, is now describing the drone activity that he encountered, and it sounds crazy. Honestly, it sounds like a level of technology that is just rarely reported, if not been reported at all in Western media, not in this great detail. Jim Hoff says that a U.S. fighter pilot rescued after his plane was shot down in Iran has given a bone-chilling account of the moments before he was forced to eject, describing how he was swarmed by Iranian drones, moving together in unison like some nightmarish jellyfish from hell. The way this is described, it reminds me of the drone, that one Spider-Man movie where they have the drones that do the holograms, projected holograms. I'm not saying they did holograms in this instance, but it's what it reminds me of. Quote, multiple drones interconnected and moving as one, with smaller drones below the bigger ones like legs, according to CNN. Quote, real alien excrement, the source added, recounting the pilot's stunned reaction during his intelligence debriefing. Another source told CNN the pilot described witnessing a minefield of drones in the air. While the exact cause of the F-15 downing is still being investigated, initial reports indicated that it was possible the drone formation had in some way enabled Iran to shoot down the American jet, according to two of the sources. The F-15 carried a crew of two, a pilot and a weapons system officer. U.S. forces immediately launched search and rescue efforts, CNN previously reported. So this is when you had this operation, the rescue operation where they had to make their own runway and everything else that we heard all about. And there's some other reporting that this was actually a mission that didn't go well. That was a mission to try to get the uranium dust. There's multiple stories about what really happened that day or that in that period of time. But if this is true, I mean, and by the way, drones are really cheap. If this is true, this also kind of makes you think a little different about what we were actually facing here, because you can disable the missiles all you want, but you've got these cheap drones that apparently don't cost a lot, and Iran has been investing in this drone capacity for a long time at this point. The Gateway Pundit writes, this is the new detail emerging from the April 2026 downing of a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle over southwest Iran during Operation Epic Fury. As the Gateway Pundit reported at the time, the jet was struck and destroyed. The pilot and weapons officer ejected. One crew member was pulled out quickly. The second evaded capture in a brutal multi-day fight against Iranian IRGC and Baathi terrorists, hiking ridges, using SEER training, and holding out until elite U.S. Special Operations Forces, pararescue, launched a daring combat search and rescue mission under heavy fire. It was hailed as an Easter miracle, with 0 American lives lost despite intense ground combat and even rescue helicopters taking hits. During an interview with Axios, President Trump went into more detail about the mission. This included the fact that the U.S. at first worried that a message from the stranded pilot of the F-15 shot down by Iran was a trap set up by the Iranians to lure U.S. forces into a bloodbath. Trump also revealed the pilot gave a short message on the radio that seemed unusual. He said, "Power be to God," Trump told Axios. What he said on the radio sounded like something a Muslim would say, the president added. A U.S. defense official later confirmed Trump's account but said the phrase was actually slightly different. God is good. The CIA pulled off a clever trick on the Iranian enemy. The Daily Mail reported that they deceived. They did some deception to find the colonel who was missing. And then a final twist, 2 U.S. transport planes were sent to extract the team. They became stranded at a remote base inside Iran, but our military had a solution. Excuse me. Sorry. Commanders ordered them destroyed rather than risk sensitive equipment falling into enemy hands. So they're saying now that what kicked all of this off was a pilot coming into contact with a massive amount of drones that were actually working in tandem with each other as some sort of drone defense shield or something. I don't know. I'm trying to picture it in my head, but when you hear it looked like a nightmarish jellyfish, something out of like an alien sci-fi movie, a minefield of drones just hovering in the air. It's kind of wild when you think about it, if this is an accurate report. And it kind of goes with what we've been saying on the show. I mean, we said this at the beginning of the war, that regardless of what advisors said what, or who opposed the war, or who said it was a good idea, obviously Bibi Netanyahu thought it was a great idea, that Iran's military, we get told in the Western media that it's just a Middle Eastern country and they're stupid and dumb and they're not technologically advanced at all. And certainly, missile to missile, they're not on par with us, but they've got cheap drones, and they do have what's considered to be a conventional military. But that didn't stop, Admiral Flaps, the guy wearing the mask, from going on, Fox News and stumping for the Iran war. Still didn't want to pull on his face when he went on Stitchfield. Still didn't want to do that. And I'll remind everybody that, yes, I do believe that he was wearing a mask, and the question is not whether it was a mask, in my opinion. The question is why, why would you do this? And that can be any number of answers. But just go watch the first Mission Impossible movie, about the first 30 minutes of the first Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise, and they tell you right there, we're using Senator so-and-so? Yeah, you're going to wear Senator so-and-so. You're going to be him. He's a fly fishing. But, quote, he's one of ours. That particular senator is one of ours, and so you're going to impersonate him in Prague while he's on vacation fly fishing. Pretty interesting stuff. Truth is stranger than fiction. That's all the time that I have for this edition. I'm going to be back here tomorrow with Rob and maybe Eric. Who knows? We'll have to see. And I'm not guest hosting for Jeremy tomorrow, so you'll see me at 3 Central, 4 Eastern. God bless everybody out there watching. Want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, Pet Club 247, and Sherrod Chiropractic. God bless everybody out there. Thank you so much.